Baby Driver is directed by Edgar Wright and stars Ansel Elgort, Kevin Spacey, Jamie Foxx, John Hamm, Lily James, and among others, and is a story of a getaway driver named Baby who works for Kevin Spacey's character as part of these different bank heists that he's assigned to do in terms of paying back the money that he owes for Kevin Spacey's character. Now, a little in and basically the whole gist is that Baby is a young driver who basically suffered an accident when he was younger that caused him to basically have his ears basically not it's something called tinnitus or something like that. I'm not sure how you I'm not familiar with the phrase, but basically it causes him to where he has to listen to music to tune out. And the whole story revolves around him doing these dangerous jobs while at the same time he falls in love with the girl at a diner, or I'm sorry, a young woman at a diner, and basically, not going to spoil anything, but I'll leave it there, and as the movie goes along, you kind of get the idea that he wants to be out of this situation, and he has to do these jobs based on what Kevin Spacey's character is telling him what to do. So, I've got to be honest, I was actually pretty looking forward to this movie for a while. Just a little backstory real quick. I'm actually a fan of Edgar Wright's movies. I haven't seen all of them. I've only seen a couple of his, actually. If you see behind me, I actually have two of his films that I actually grew fond of when they first came out, which was Shaun of the Dead, one of my favorite zombie films that he directed, and Hot Fuzz, which is actually probably one of my favorite spoof comedies I liked. That's that's satirizing police films. So I'm actually drawn pretty fondly of Edgar Wright as a director. With those two films I've seen, I actually want to watch more of them. I haven't seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World or The World's End, but I heard those films are good. But I mean, and I also hear that he was the original director for Ant-Man, which would probably would have made the movie a little different than what we got. But I have actually, based on those films alone of what I saw in Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, it seems to me that he's a director that really loves like taking any type of genre and kind of doing like basically a different spin on it, with either making it as a pure spoof of it or satirizing it to the point where it's meant to be that very upbeat, very fast-paced comedy. And I think he really is a very outstanding director. And so with this type of movie, it got me really curious because I'm a big fan of a big fan of heist movies, and just the whole idea of this guy who goes throughout the entire film listening to music, I can actually relate to that a lot, because there's been a lot of times where if I'm like really in the mood or something, I actually just want to walk around and just listen to music and feel like I'm in the course of action. I like to tune out and just plug headphones in and just listen to music all the time. So I can really relate to the character of Baby Driver, and or Baby, I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah, I was actually really wanting to check out this movie since I first saw the previews for it. And before I get into the review, I do have to really say something real quick. I actually watched this film last night, or, well, by the time this is done recording, this will be 2 nights ago. I went to this theater that's in my hometown here in Fort Smith, and the screening that I was at, I was watching about, I want to say, about an hour and 30 minutes or so of it, and I am not kidding, the power actually went out and I couldn't even finish the movie. So when it got to the final climax, I actually didn't even get to watch all of it, because for about around 9 p.m. Central Time where I'm at, the actual power went out. So I ended up having to go rewatch the film again today and having to finish it, which is not a bad thing, because to be honest, this to me is probably one of the best movies I've seen all year. Like, this surprised me on so many levels. First of all, the performances, including Ansel Elgort, Kevin Spacey, and the entire cast are all outstanding. Every character, I feel like, has their own unique personality, and the dialogue that Edgar Wright, I think that Edgar Wright wrote, it's just so captivating and so catchy that every time that you hear one of these characters speak, it's always something really, smart-ass, or it's supposed to be, getting you into the moment, so to speak. And it really captures the comedy so well in these type of situations. And not just that, but they actually they blend the comedy very well with the emotional parts too, because I'm not going to go into detail, but when things get emotional throughout the film, you actually do really, it kind of, it has a lot of heart to it. It really makes you really feel for the character of Baby and what he has to go through in order to do all these jobs. And I actually really enjoyed the chemistry between him and the whole cast, especially with him and Lily James as his character Deborah. And what really grabs my attention the most is that this film, in a way, the plot of it kind of reminds me of that film Drive from 2011, and because it's basically a similar story where you have in that film you had a guy who was good at what he did by being a stunt driver, and he was doing all these different like bank heists and stuff. Well, I'm sorry, not these bank heists. He was doing like crimes for all these different people that he was involved in. And that film too also dealt with a guy who was this head honcho that hires him and everything. And in that film as well, the character ends up falling in love with another person. Well, I think the difference here is that while that film is more of a it's telling more of a poetic type of art kind of film, this film is more of your more upbeat and more high octane, like just pure entertainment, because that's what this is. This is purely entertaining, but it's also got a lot of heart to it. It's got a lot of energy. It's just so fast paced to the point that you can't believe it ends afterwards, because it goes by so fast. You just want to see more of it, And I gotta tell you, a lot of the sequences that are shot in this film are really well done, especially a lot of the car chases we see during the bank heist. They're really well choreographed, and I think this is probably some of the best car chases I've seen, probably since The Town from 2010, which is another bank heist movie. So, yeah, I really enjoyed everything about this movie all around, like the direction, especially with the way that they handle these car chases and the bank heists, and a lot of the shootouts are really intense. Another thing I really appreciate too is that with the sound editing in this movie, it actually really captures a lot of the way that the songs are actually synchronized with situations. Like, not going to go into detail, but there's actually shootout sequences and even car chases, I believe, where the music actually goes along with the scene, and it kind of goes in like a synchronized beat back and forth. So I really enjoy the way that the sound editing goes along with a lot of the parts, because it really gets you into the mindset of how hip upbeat the movie is trying to go in for it. And the performances are really well done too, especially Jamie Foxx and John Hamm. Like they steal a lot of scenes in this film. Like, I love their banter they do back and forth, where they kind of hate each other, and you see a lot of the dynamic between them, where they're fucking with each other throughout, and it's just really funny to watch with them two going back and forth. And not just that, but the soundtrack is very amazing too, especially when you hear like classic songs, like you hear Barry White, and you hear T-Rex, Queen. It's got such a catchy soundtrack that Edgar Wright is one of those directors that he makes great soundtracks in his films, especially when he did Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. So, I really don't have really much any flaws with this movie. I mean, I will probably say, if I kind of nitpick just a little bit, since the film is trying to basically satirize a lot of I know the film is trying to satirize a lot of like things that are supposed to be in heist films and everything. But I will say that there might be one minor nitpick I would say toward the end that I kind of was like, well, I'm really wondering how that probably could have happened. Like that just happened out of that it was so convenient for that to happen. But that's just a minor nitpick for me. Overall, I really love this film, and so much to the point that it's going to end up being one of the best movies I've seen all year. And with that being said, I'm going to give Baby Driver a 9.5 out of 10. For those of you who have seen Baby Driver, what did you guys think of it? Comment below, and if you like what you see here, you can check out more of my channel, and you can check out more, and go ahead and you can like, subscribe, and check out more of my reviews here, and I'll be seeing you in my next one. I'll see you later.